Thank you for joining me on my learning journey. Today I'm going to be sharing my learnings on how to set up your science fair display in terms of design. What are some tips for making sure that you're most effectively able to communicate your ideas. And I'm not going to be focusing too much on content, more on just the visual things that you can change to make your science fair display even better. So first off, avoid small text. A judge doesn't want to have to stand in front of your board and squint to read tiny print. Try to avoid having huge paragraphs of small text. Here's my suggestion for that. If your science fair allows you to have a lab book or a booklet for judges to go through, try to put the long paragraphs and a lot of the text content in there in terms of things that are too long to be putting on the board. Like if you have a very detailed conclusion or data analysis that you want to put in there, you could just summarize that and put that on your board. Next, use bullet points. So this is another thing that kind of goes with the previous one. It makes it easier for a judge to scan through your content if it's in bullet points, and try to highlight the most significant points to make it easier for the judge to really capture the main essence of your project in a single glance. So try to keep text black on white. So this may sound a little odd coming from someone who is doing this video right now with a light purplish on black kind of color. But on your science fair presentation board, and actually in a lot of presentations in general, just keeping your text black on white, keep it nice, simple, readable. Sometimes that really helps if it's easier to read your content, people are more likely to do it. So yeah. Number 4, organize for easy understanding. So I know that at least for my regional science fair, this is actually something that is on the judging rubric. Organizational flow. When a judge is looking at your board, does it all flow nicely, or are they jumping around from, hypothesis to conclusion to data to engineering goal? Or is it more like hypothesis, hypothesis and engineering goal, never mind. Let's say hypothesis, first you have your hypothesis, then you have your procedure, and then you have, your pictures and visuals from what happened during your experiment, and things like that. So in that nice, easy flow for them to understand how your project was laid out. And a lot of times, I just want to add this here, especially if your science fair doesn't have an interview. Mine does, but if yours doesn't have an interview, this board and your lab book are a very important part of the judging process, right? Or even otherwise, they're a huge part of the judging process. But the reason why this organized for easy understanding, I feel like, is even on the rubric is because it really tests your understanding of, can you communicate your findings effectively to an audience? And that's something that when you're doing research in the future is important, right? Whenever you're doing research, you need to be able to communicate your findings, and this is all testing that. Number 5, keep it simple, scientists. Try to keep your board just simple, easy flowing, visual, and just logical when you look at it, Try to avoid a kind of complicated setup in terms of content, and just keep it nice and simple and focus on the information you're putting into it. So that's it for this learning. Thank you for joining me. I'll really appreciate it if you leave your comments, feedback, and further suggestions for additional learnings below. I'll see you in the next video.